with people, instead of them asking where are you from, that's the whole principle of cooking back to our roots. Is I ask everybody, where are your roots from, right? Because maybe I may look like, I look like Ghanaian, but I'm not born here. So my roots are both Dutch. It's first Ghanaian first, but I do have some Dutch roots as well. And my son at the moment, my partner is Dutch, so white Dutchman.
Yeah,
And Orlando is best of both worlds. He's Ghanaian and Dutch as well.
I see. So then, would you say growing up, I'm aware that there's quite a large Ghanaian community in the Netherlands. Were
Mm-hmm.
you in touch with your Ghanaian side? Were you eating Ghanaian
Mm-hmm.
food? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of season 2 of the Sunny Jermaine Show. My name is Sunny Jermaine, or Sunny or Jermaine. People often ask me, which name do you prefer? It doesn't matter, Sunny or Jermaine. Sunny is just a nickname, but of course, my real name is Jermaine Lovu, and I'm from the southwest of Zimbabwe. Go Bulawayo, the nice, beautiful city called Bulawayo, and I live in the Netherlands. And of course, I like to find out as a newcomer in a new country, I like to speak to people from various parts of the world, from all over. You know, the Netherlands has over 200 nationalities. And so today I have a very special guest to kickstart us off a wonderful season 2. And you know, I love strong, powerful black women. Of course, we don't like that term, but
Thank you.
I
Thank
have a
you.
powerful black woman with me. Her name is Vivian Acquah. I hope I'll pronounce it correctly.
Crystal clear. Perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Vivian Acquah, as you can see her, I love the purple braids. It's a signature look of yours. She is the host. I
Mhm.
hope I'm having your pronouns correctly. She's the host of a wonderful YouTube cooking show, Cooking Back to Our Roots. She's going to tell us all about it. I love it. And of course, she is a very well-renowned DEI expert, diversity, equity, and inclusion expert in the Netherlands. And
Exactly.
Vivian, thank you so much for taking your time out to chat with me.
Thank you, Jermaine, for first of all for the introduction, and second of all, of course, for introducing me to bringing me along to your show. And I'm really curious about what we are going to talk about. And just to warn people, I will drop some food terms, just so you know, because I am the host of Cooking Back to Our Roots, right?
Indeed, that would be super cool. Well, first of all, I'll just say, how did I come across you? I am in the group called OMAC. It's a bicultural space for people with a migration background in the Netherlands, and I often used to see Vivian's posts, and of course, I just jumped straight into her YouTube show. And I've been hooked ever since. Would you mind telling us a little bit what is cooking back to our roots? And then on that point, we will literally go back to your roots.
Yes, so Cooking Back to Our Roots is a tribute. I first started as a tribute to my grandmother. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away from diabetes. So season one was dedicated to how can we still honor and respect our roots, but then again also remain, respect our culture and eat healthier, right? So season number two, I got the fortunate opportunity from the municipal of Amsterdam to do something again with Cooking Back to Our Roots. But then this time, I wanted to have a deeper conversation. So not only talking about the food, but have the conversation about the person behind their country or the person who I'm talking to. So this time, less cooking. Yes, we are talking about food, and I'm through the platform. I'm providing some YouTube videos and tips on how to cook the certain foods, but also connecting the dots with the different countries. So connecting the dots between Suriname and West Africa, and also the Dutch Antilles with West Africa as well, to understand that yes, we have our roots and we need to learn from the past, but once
Yeah,
we know that what we have learned from the past, what are we applying that we have learned, right? So I'm applying the Ghanaian Adinkra Sankofa it's throughout everything where I'm going back to our history, but also back to where are we now and what are we taking away from those two things to bring it forward to empower us in the future. And it's more of a show for the African diaspora, wherever you are. So many people have reached out and said, "Ooh, what you are sharing and what your guest speakers are sharing, it resonates with me." Even though I'm not from the Netherlands, there are so many things that where I feel challenged when I'm in working or living in a Western society that is seeing my way, my upbringing, my culture as different.
I see. Wow. Okay. So much to unpack. Let me try to
Mm-hmm.
dissect. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
first part okay, maybe we'll go back to your grandma, but rather let's say, what is Sankofa? Because I'm from Southern Africa
Yeah.
and I keep hearing it a lot.
Yeah.
If you have a
So
little,
Sankofa literally means sun is go. No, sun is go and
okay.
kofa is fetch. But the way that the proverb is translated or the Adinkra is translated is look back to your past and take away everything
Mm-hmm.
that you have learned and pick out the elements that you can apply for your future or for your now so that you learn from your past, right? Instead of just reading something, not reading, not applying anything, that's not what the Sankova thing stands for. Sankova, a drinker
I
symbol,
see.
stands for we need to go back and learn from our past so that we can amplify ourselves, we can empower ourselves because there's so much of our history that has been narrated by people that don't know our culture, that don't know our story, that don't know our history. So why not bring in the different people from different areas or different countries together and let's talk about the common thing that we all know, right? We all know the angry parent that look a certain way or call out your full name. You all know what that means.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Speaking of that parent, you mentioned your grandmother, may her soul
Mm-hmm.
rest eternally in peace. She was from,
Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you repeat that again?
yeah, where was she from?
She's from Ghana, so I'm Ghanaian. Yeah,
Mhm. Were you born in the Netherlands or?
yeah. I'm born and raised in the Netherlands, so my parents came here. I think ending of 70s or early 80s. No, I was born in the 80s, but my parents came here
Mhm.
around 78, 79, and they
Wow.
wanted to be in the Netherlands because there were more opportunities there. So unfortunately, the interaction with my grandmother are not, extensive because going to Ghana, it's not an easy feat as well. But then again, I am so grateful for the interactions that I have with my grandmother. But unfortunately, I
Mhm.
now have to do it with the stories from other people who know her so that I can
Yeah,
create her story or narrate her story.
yeah. Were you able to meet her, perhaps?
Yeah, 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 definitely. A
You did.
few
Okay.
times. I'm not that many times though, and that's why I find it a bit sad for her not being in my life at the moment right now where
Mhm.
I'm a mother, right? Where she could have met my son who in so many ways looks so much like her, and people have said in the past that I look like my grandmother as well, so I can definitely relate to her energy flowing back to my child.
Wow. By the way, I like that your son gives the intros and the outros to your show. That was a really cool touch.
Yes, definitely. So for the podcast, I wanted to include him in a way, but not make him all that present. But then again, it's about Sankofa, right? The reason why I did all this show, it's not about only for this generation, but also I want to leave something that behind for the next generations in the future that we as African descendants, we have so much power. But then again, if nobody talks about our collective wealth, nobody talks about how to get there or what challenges or how you can mitigate those challenges or overcome those challenges, because there seems to be a mystery about how we can do things
Yeah.
that I want to leave behind a legacy. And I've been able to do that together with so many guests, having that for forever and ever, right? Audio and video forever and ever. That's amazing. So it's a tribute to him. And he, in a way, he understands what his power is, but it doesn't understand it really. He knows that he's really proud of the podcast intro and outro. But
Yeah.
I hope to listen to him with him again within 5 years or 10 years to listen back to how his voice has been impactful for this show.
Oh, that's super cool. That's so amazing. And I
Yeah.
love that you mentioned that it's about bringing us back to our roots, particularly as people with a migrant background. Um, how would you say the Netherlands is raising him as you are a
Mm-hmm.
parent now compared to the Netherlands in
Mm-hmm.
which you were born and raised in back then? What
Yeah.
changes have you noticed in the past decades or years?
Well, that's a whole big question that you're asking, but I will unravel it. So, personal for me, growing up in the Netherlands, I've been fortunate, but in certain cases unfortunate, right? Because the Netherlands is seen as very progressive, but then again, there's a lot happening below the water. If you have this iceberg image in mind where you can see the top of the
Yeah,
iceberg and then there's so much happening below the water. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been a victim of different isms, whether it's sexism, whether it's racism, whether it's discrimination, whether it's microaggression. There's so much happening in the workplace, but also in normal environments where I was raised and taught to work twice as hard or maybe 100 times harder, which is not healthy when especially not healthy and unfair towards those who are part of the majority group who aren't being told like that, right? So
hmm
for us people from the black from the how do you say, from the African descent,
hmm
this there is a myth about us working twice as hard, and I want to demystify that because I want to bring together with my partner, his dad, I want to bring our child up in a place where he can be how he is allowed to be. What
hmm
people don't know, and maybe people can understand this the moment that I share this, I do a lot, but there's a reason behind this. I'm neurodivergent. I have an inner craving to diversify the things that I'm doing. So, besides me being a DEI trainer, I
Yeah,
took upon this project, which is, you have to see it as a non-profit project because I put in a lot of love and attention and energy and also invested
yeah.
a lot in this project because I believe in us. I believe in creating a better pathway for our people, but I also believe in that these conversations can be the bridge builder for other people that don't know us yet, that are curious about us, so that they can connect with us through our food, through the history, through the conversation that have been shared. So the difference between the way that I was brought up and the way that we are bringing Olanda up is nowadays bringing a child up in this world, in this digital age, is challenging
hmm
because you have social media that is breaking people their self-esteem down. You have the media also breaking people down, right? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of noise happening, whereas when I grew up the noise was less. It was there, but it wasn't prevalent or present as much as now. And Orlando
hmm
now has a phone. We need to digitally educate him, or educating him about how to use the phone properly, but also how to pay attention to not sharing your phone number with everybody, or not bully people, not bully
Oh, yeah.
classmates through WhatsApp or whatever, right? So that's a different challenge that parents nowadays face, because we have to make sure that our kids are digitally savvy to use technology for good and not for bad.
Ah, wonderful. And then how do you, I'm well aware that raising a child of color in big European
Mm-hmm.
cities, it certainly comes with challenges in these past few years where we see kids with knives and all of that. How
Mm-hmm.
do you
Yeah.
try, how do you manage it? How do you prevent your son from falling into that crack?
I mean, to be honest, Orlando is 10, so he's still a little child, but then again, we try to watch the news, and we also pay attention to news special for kids, so that we have conversation about the topics that are prevalent here. We have conversations about the things that are happening in Amsterdam, where there are kids out there that are being, lured into the dark side. Let me say that. And we want to give Orlando the ingredients that we believe he needs to be a good citizen, a good child. Of course, there will come challenges. The moment that he's getting older, the more challenges that will come, but there are healthy challenges, right? I want to make sure that we have good no good values that we are able to pass upon him, and that's all I can do. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not the lioness who's going to hover over everything that he's doing, because also want to be able to trust him.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have conversations at home about what's good and what's bad, and that he needs to learn to trust his gut about things, because even though he's not Spider-Man, he understands that there is something out there when something is wrong, that you get your spider senses
Yeah.
activated, right? So we want to make sure that he learns about trusting his gut and trusting what he's doing is the right thing or is a bad thing.
Is a bad thing. Ah, that's wonderful. So then, would you say that having been born in the Netherlands, I see you have a lovely, beautiful kente cloth as a head
Mm-hmm.
wrap.
Yeah.
Would you say
Mm-hmm.
you are in touch with your African roots or background? How Dutch are you, if that even exists?
I mean, according no, I can be open. I mean, according to the majority of the Ghanaians, I'm totally Western, but
Hmm.
according to the Dutch people, I am Ghanaian. So I'm both. I want to
Okay.
be able to embrace both, because I wear my headscarf with pride. Right, let's say that the last 8 years, I've been wearing my headscarf also because I
Hmm.
want to respect and honor my
Hmm.
culture, and also it's an invitation for a conversation, for people to ask me, I see that you're wearing this, is there a definition or is there a meaning behind it, just like the question that you are asking right now, right? I sometimes wear my African earring just to, support the continent as well, but it doesn't have to mean that I mean, I could be everybody, right? Everybody can wear African earrings, but for me, there is something behind it. I want to be able to have a conversation with people instead of them asking, where are you from? That's the whole principle of cooking back to our roots, is I
Yeah.
ask everybody, where are your roots from, right? Because maybe I may look like, I look like Ghanaian, but I'm not
Hmm.
born here. So my roots are both Dutch. It's first Ghanaian first,
Hmm.
but I do have some Dutch roots as well. And my son at the moment, my partner is Dutch, the so
Hmm.
white Dutchman,
Yeah.
and Orlando is best of both worlds. He's Ghanaian and Dutch as well.
I see. So then, would you say growing up, I'm aware that there's quite a large Ghanaian community in the Netherlands. Were
Mm-hmm.
you in touch with your Ghanaian side? Were you eating Ghanaian
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
foods?
Of course, of course. I mean, my parents were only mingling with Ghanaian people. So
Hmm.
even though I was born and raised in the Netherlands, we were still in Little Ghana. It's like, a Little Ghana village. I even live in Southeast, by the way, which is definitely a lot of Ghanaians are living there. If it's not here, then
It's
it's
little Ghana
where there
indeed.
are a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Southeast, and Amsterdam is definitely Little Ghana. So I'm definitely in
I,
touch.
I
My
love it
aunt
there.
even has a restaurant here.
Oh, really? Which one?
Yeah. She Have you ever been in the world of food?
Sorry, say that again.
The world of food in Southeast.
Oh, no, I've never been. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I've
Well,
heard so
it
much
doesn't
about it.
exist now anymore.
Hmm.
It doesn't exist now anymore because they are tearing it down, but she does
Oh
have a
no.
place at Pathé near the Belmer station, where she has her own restaurant. So for those of you who are listening and are in the Netherlands, if you ever want to eat Ghanaian food, almost like how my grandmother cooked it, then you're more than welcome to
Hmm.
visit Gold Coast Catering.
It's called Gold Coast Catering. We'll write it down.
Yeah, Gold Coast
Oh,
Catering. Yes,
wonderful.
the
No,
the
I've never
different name
been.
for Ghana is Gold Coast.
Gold Coast,
Yeah,
yes, I've heard of it.
yeah.
Actually, the former president of Zimbabwe was married to a lady from Ghana, actually Sally Mugabe. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you've ever heard of her.
No.
Oh no, oh yeah. So Zimbabwe, we had a Ghana connection back in the 70s, and we have Kwame Nkrumah
Awesome.
Street
Awesome.
in the capital city of Zimbabwe,
I
actually.
mean, whole of Africa knows about Kwame Nkrumah because he's such a pivotal president and
Hmm.
such a pivotal way in paving, independence that
Hmm.
I don't know what happened to Africa after, after that, but I'm hoping to one day to have a president or Africa, the continent, to be united and bring back that energy of we ourselves can create our own wealth instead of depending only on the Western society.
Indeed, absolutely, absolutely. Now, my next question is, where was your first passport stamp? Where did you first travel in life, if you recall? And
It's
how
Ghana.
did you perceive the new country? It is Ghana. It has to
Yeah, it
be.
is Ghana, but the
Uh,
only thing though is I was very young. I
mm-hmm,
was about 2 or 3 years old. That was the first, abroad step that I took. The second thing that I remember, the first remembrance of going elsewhere is going to London because my mom went to London often, where
mm-hmm.
we were able to visit family members. So for me, England, London is a memory that I have fresh on my mind and has always mesmerized me because of the you were talking about the multitude of nationalities that are based in the Netherlands, and I think England has so much more than we have here in the Netherlands.
It's
Yeah,
it now. I've never been to England actually.
yeah, it's
Oh,
worth the trip,
oh, that's quite
especially
fascinating.
during Carnival.
I've heard of Carnival. That's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
Now, how would you experience the Amsterdam Southeast, also knowing that it has had quite a dramatic change in terms of the culture back then and what it is now? You've lived there your whole life, I suppose?
No, I've lived at not only Southeast. I've lived at almost every part of Amsterdam. So
Hmm.
I've lived in North, I've lived in South, I've lived in also in East as well, and in Centrum in the past.
I
And
see.
Southeast is where I was born,
I see.
and Southeast is also where I find my peace within Amsterdam. Right, there's a lot of there is a lot of land and a lot of peace and quiet, whereas the rest of the inner city of Amsterdam is very busy.
It is. No, I love the
Yeah.
Southeast. I had a chance to live there for a couple of months myself, and I was so glad I did
Mm-hmm.
because everything that I had been told was not true.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to somebody who
what
has
what
never
what were
been?
people telling you then?
Oh my,
What were people telling you then?
oh, that's don't even ever set foot there. It is dangerous. It is a
Hmm.
ghetto.
Hmm.
I remember my driving instructor once was like, "Okay, people kill people there."
I mean, in every part of Amsterdam, there could be shootings, right? And in every part of Amsterdam, there are some people that, let's say that they aren't humanizing, their environment. But Southeast is a great place to live here. That's one of the reasons uh,
Mhm.
why I love it because of the different nationalities, the food, the ingredients that you can get, right?
Yeah,
This is the spot where you can get definitely your African ingredients for cooking something African dishes, but also there are so many people from different backgrounds here that we understand the common language is we respect and honor and respect each other because we have so many connections based upon the different nationalities.
yeah, yeah, and it helps you to interact with other people. I really loved it.
Yeah.
It was such a rich experience, and it felt like home. Really, it really did
Mm-hmm.
feel like home, which
Yeah.
is what I miss it
Yeah.
so much, by the way.
You're always welcome to
I
come.
do come for shopping though. For
Yeah.
being from Southern Africa, it's quite interesting because we don't have as diverse a range of food that you guys have in West Africa. For example, in Southern Africa, we don't have plantain, cassava, yams, palm oil.
No?
No, no. So often I always have to tell people that the African experience is so different for us down south.
Okay.
I
Okay. I
had to
didn't know.
learn
I
I
thought
had to learn
plantain
those.
was available
Uh-huh.
everywhere.
No, I had to learn all those foods here. I never even seen them with my own eyes in Southern Africa at all. And I lived in
Wow.
Zimbabwe for
Okay.
32 years, so I learned African food when I moved to the Netherlands. Isn't that funny?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely
what's your
funny, but
favorite
yeah, I
African
never
food?
thought about it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
indeed.
Oh, it's hard to pick and choose, but my favorite is palava sauce. So it's a spinach sauce. It's some kind of taro leaf. In Africa, they use taro leaves or elephant ears. It's called elephant ears as well. And in the Netherlands, because taro leaves are very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
they use spinach to replace it. And it's a dish that is food for my soul, literally food for my soul. I eat it together with yam. You can also eat it together with rice, but my favorite way of eating it is yam and a piece of plantain. And it's
Okay.
it's home. That's home for me.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Interesting
yeah,
recipe. I've never had that either.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think I should hang closer to you and I'll be trying some African foods myself, and which is quite bizarre for us in Southern Africa. Whenever people say, okay, let's have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and like, I have no idea what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Mm-hmm.
cooking back to our roots, so you started it, but you are also a DEI trainer. Take me to
Mm-hmm.
through your journey as a DEI trainer. How did that come about?
Yeah.
What made you choose DEI?
So a little context. I shared in the beginning that I face different isms, right? I've been
Mm-hmm.
working as a consultant, first as a financial consultant, then became the bridge builder between finance and IT, and then eventually ended up in IT. And I faced different hardships.
Mm-hmm.
With all the news that is happening in the US, when you look at the black woman, the challenges black women are facing in the workplace, one particular
Yeah.
is the situation where, with the lady with Harvard, but also a
Yeah.
recent situation where, yeah, where I have to share a recent situation where a woman took her life because of the situation that she was bullied
Mm.
in the workplace. And I want the reason why I'm saying this because I've been both. I've been both.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to be able to advocate for those that being a black woman, wherever you are, there is such a weight upon our shoulders that we have to do everything and that we have to maintain strong and that we are not able to be emotional. And I want to be able to advocate for those who don't have a voice because if things went differently, Orlando would not exist. And the
Yeah.
reason why I'm saying this is when I found out that I was pregnant, I announced my pregnancy at a very early stage.
Mm-hmm.
My then managers were, let's say that they didn't like it and started bullying me.
Oh no.
I ended up having a high blood pressure. I ended up having hypertension. I ended up having to dealing with a lot of stress. And eventually my midwife warned me, like, I don't know what you're doing, but
Mm-hmm.
you're not only risking your life, but you're risking your child's life. The moment that she said that,
Wow.
that was the moment that I took an early to maternity leave. So I'm grateful for my life coach, my personal life coach, my son. I'm grateful for the valuable lesson that he has brought to us because now I'm able to not only to help myself, but also help others create an inclusive workplace. It's important for us to do the work And instead of pointing our fingers at they are this or they are that, or this workplace is exclusive, I want to make sure that I'm part of creating the solution and helping companies to create a solution that is open and favorable for everybody in the workplace. So I'm saying this out loud, and maybe you're shocked and maybe you're not shocked, but there's so much out there for Black people, but also people of color, that there is this weight that we ourselves put on upon us, our community put ourselves on our shoulders, but also other societies puts this upon our shoulders. And I want us to be able to see our value and understand that we need to see our greatness and not let
Mm-hmm.
other people define our greatness.
Oh, that's
So
so
that's how my journey
beautiful.
started. I started from well-being, but I also realized that if I don't want my son and his generation to ever face any ism, whether it's discrimination, racism, or whatever ism, I want to make sure that I am part of that solution.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That's absolutely beautiful. Now, how do companies receive your interventions? Do you face any resistance when you're doing trainings? Do they get it?
Uh, Working on change is a long-term commitment, right? So when the companies
Yeah.
hire me, it's a step towards getting better. It's a step towards inclusion. And do they get it? I mean, it takes time to get it. And of course, there might be some people that cause friction, but I'm able to handle that. I'm able to ask questions and come from a place of curiosity so that they are able to understand me. But also, I'm a person, I mentioned that I'm neurodiverse, so I'm a person that loves to use tools and loves to use tools in a way so that people can literally walk a mile in my shoes. And one of the tools that I'm talking about is I don't have to tell you what I'm facing or how I'm experiencing. I want you to wear a virtual reality headset and face the same thing that I'm facing. And then we can have a conversation about how you feel and how we can make the workplace a little bit better. Because in this situation where there is so much information out there, so many podcasts, so many books, so many movies, but
Yeah.
yet again, the world is still it's leaning towards more polarization instead of more connectivity. I want us to tap into different methods and find ways to connect people with their hearts and minds to understand that this is not about uplifting only the Black community, but it's about uplifting the humanity in general.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's super cool. Uh, did your parents settle in the Netherlands, or did they choose to go back home? Um, if
They
any
are
reasons
here
why
half the
they
time.
chose to stay.
They are not really staying because they, at the moment, while we were recording this, they are in Ghana at the moment right now, and they want to be here and they want to be there. That's an open choice that they have, right? So, yeah.
I see. Yeah, reason being I'm asking is because so many of us who are newcomers, there are some people who are saying, no, people have to go back to Africa. So I'm often
Mm-hmm.
curious about
True.
people who were born here that where is your heart,
Mm-hmm.
for example, based on the travels you've had to Africa and being here?
My heart will be here and in the
Mhm.
US,
Oh, in the US. Oh.
especially the part of San Francisco. Yeah, in the US. In the US. I mean, Ghana is part of my roots. I know it there and I've been there. It's a very long time that I've been there, almost 20 years. So we are, let's say that in the upcoming 8 months, we are going there together with the whole family as well. But um, the moment that I came into San Francisco, that's where the moment that I felt like home, home, home. You don't see me, and I don't know if you have ever
Mhm.
seen me in real life, but I'm a tall woman. I'm
Mhm.
1 meter 86.
Oh.
And in the Netherlands, for a Black woman, I'm very tall. But in the US, I'm still tall, but I'm able to thrive. I'm able to visit shops where I don't have to,
Mhm.
deal with the short arms or the short legs, right? Because of the length that I have. And I'm able to feel home. And for me, San Francisco feels a little bit like Europe, but also like
Mhm.
America as well. And I can always travel to Ghana.
I see. Would you move there to San Francisco?
I mean, if it was something that my partner would be open to, yes. My heart is in San Francisco. I literally have the Golden Gate Bridge as background for our kitchen because I love it so much.
Oh, that's so cute. Have you ever lived anywhere else outside of the Netherlands, maybe for a
No,
stretch of a time? No.
no. I mean, I've worked in London for 6 months, but I don't see it as living because I was back
Mhm.
and forth every weekend. But that's the experience that I have.
Oh, I see, I see. So would you say the Netherlands is where you're pretty much settled for now?
Yeah,
Oh, that's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
That's
For
so
now,
cool.
I'm
For now.
still trying to convince my partner to to let's go somewhere, but he wants to be here. He's rooted here.
I see. And how do you experience the legendary cold? We're in the middle of winter now. How is it for you?
That's why I want to move. That's why. That's why. No, this is not my country. Every time the cold comes, I disconnect with the Netherlands. I disconnect with the Netherlands. Even my blood is shouting like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? But it's where I'm
Really?
born and raised, right? So yeah,
Oh,
I,
but
I
I
cannot
don't
connect
find
with the
it that
cold.
cold though.
It's cold. It's cold. It's
Really. I don't know.
cold.
Maybe it's just me. Everybody thinks I'm
Everything
crazy.
below 5 degrees is cold.
It's not that cold. Or at least
Mm-mm,
I've heard
no.
it was colder maybe 20 years ago. Would that be accurate?
No.
No.
Every season that it get below 5 degrees, it's cold.
I see. I see. Okay. I don't know. I love the cold, so I don't really have a problem with the Netherlands. I know I'm weird. All my Dutch friends are like, no. I'm like, well, that's why I'm here. Could we exchange, please? But I actually find it fascinating that, the Netherlands is where it is now. We see politically there's, well, pretty much all over Europe, there's this tension that, for lack of a better words, the natives of Europe has and with newcomers. Where does this find you? Where
Mhm.
does this locate you? How do you feel about the state of
It's
Europe?
I find it a little, I see double standards, right? I see that the moment that Ukraine was in war with Russia, that everybody opened their arms. But then again, when there are wars out there, that we close our heart and mind for other people. And I want us to understand that those people, they didn't have a choice but to leave and fled their homes. And
Yeah.
that's why I also believe in the virtual reality tool that I have because nobody is just leaving everything behind so that they can come to the Netherlands and start all over again. Go through that whole asylum procedure, which isn't fun at all. I
Mhm.
mean, some people have even slept outside because of this whole situation. So people don't understand what refugees have to go through to come here.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the hostility because they have never walked a mile in somebody else's shoes and feel like people are being taking away something that belongs to them. And I'm more curious into where it comes from, why, and why people believe that.
Yeah. Well, what would you say then to, people like me? I've been here 5 years. What would you say
Mm-hmm.
to newcomers, people who were not actually born here? I want to have a child.
Yeah.
A lot of people have children. When I speak to my friends who are women, who are migrants and who have children, they say, there are things which you don't see because you don't have a child. what would you say to
Yeah.
mothers who have children with the migrant background? How can they
Mm-hmm.
navigate this space?
I would say if you are a Black woman, connect with OMEC,
Mm-hmm,
connect with the Netherlands Black Woman platform where there are different communities out there, or even Black Lady Sock. There is also a community out there, and find your community. Don't be on your own island, connect with other people because
yeah.
there is a lot more value to share the pain and share the challenges of being a parent in the Netherlands. I would also say stand up for what you believe your child can do, right? There is this Dutch system
Mm-hmm,
taking place where some teachers are valuing your child lower just only because of their background, whilst their score is
yeah.
so much higher. I want you to stand up for your child and find measures or find things that you can activate to prove that your child is worthy of going to higher education instead of valuing them lower. So I did not personally encounter that. Luckily, I had a teacher that believed in me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have heard it and I've seen it also from friends who have been through a system where they had to deal with the teachers not believing their child. So I would say advocate for not only your child, but also for yourself and go to spaces where your value is seen, where you are valued.
That's so true. I've actually heard that a lot. That children, black kids to be specific, they
Mm-hmm.
tend to be
Yeah.
given lower grades. Why
Mm-hmm.
is that? Do you happen to know? Is it deliberate or I
It
don't know.
has to do with unconscious bias. It has to do
Mm,
with the preconceptions that some teachers have or systems have that just because you are brought up with by an immigrant or
mhm.
non-Western
Yeah,
parent or system that you cannot follow the system, and that's not true.
yeah,
The
not
only
true.
thing, though, is for those kids that went to that system where the teacher gave them a lower valuation and then they had to start at a lower school,
Mhm,
instead of taking 10 years to finish towards to a university, they will take
mhm.
10 to 16 years extra
Oh my
to
gosh.
eventually finish university. And that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Now, how wide is the extended family for you? You spoke about a support system for people of a migrant background. Would you say that,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, with the presence of Little Ghana in Amsterdam, are you now living in that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have what you consider, an African style extended family of aunties and uncles for your
I
son?
wouldn't see it like that.
No. Mm.
I wouldn't see it like that. I'm more of a person who's intersectional. So, as you can see, I didn't only interview Ghanaians. I have a very wide and broad network of people that I know, and I am raised in a way that I value every nationality. So my network is really diverse. It's really diverse.
Oh, that's super cool. That's interesting. I mean, as a DEI
Yeah,
expert, I
yeah.
think it has to be as diverse as possible, which is
Mhm,
quite amazing.
mhm.
That's super cool. Well, Vivian, I would just love to thank you so much for taking your time out on a weekend to speak to us and, sharing your insights about what it's like to be a person of a migrant background in the Netherlands. And just to close off, how do people find you for those who want to bring in DEI
Yes.
experts into their company?
Definitely. You can find me on LinkedIn. So look me up at Vivian Acquah, the lady with purple hair, or you'll see purple background on my image, Vivian Acquah, or look me up at amplifydei.com or find me via cooking back to our roots. So I have different ways for you to connect with me. Reach out, ask your question, and hopefully we can work together on creating an inclusive workplace.
That's super cool. And unfortunately, we couldn't record in studio because you injured yourself. Now, you were the
Yeah, yeah.
instigator of Jollof Wars last year. We had an African night, but you were unable to make it because you are not feeling well. What would you like to say to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Nigerians who won the cooking that
I
day?
mean, it's a not only the Nigerians. I just want to say to everybody that West Africa has amazing jollof, right? Amazing countries,
Yeah.
amazing people that are cooking jollof, but I can only vouch and stand for the Ghanaian jollof. So the match that happened last year without me being present, I am not seeing that as an original match. So there will be a rematch this year to be
Okay.
continued.
Cool. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. So, all back, if you guys are watching, we need a rematch of the African night cooking. Hopefully, this summer we'll see you there.
Mm-hmm, definitely, definitely.
Cool.
I've
Thank you
already
so
prepped
much,
chemo for
Vivian.
it, so he knows about it.
Oh, that's so nice. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful show. And do check out Vivian, as she said, on her LinkedIn or her website. Everything is written in the description. Before, do like and subscribe to her show, Cooking Back to Our Roots. It's so fascinating. So many guests, varieties of people who live in the Netherlands with a rich cultural background. You want to check that out. I sure do. And of course, thank you so much, Vivian. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, SJ.
Thank you, everybody. Until next time. Bye bye.